Welcome to the You Go First podcast. This is the place where we bring together thought leaders, business pioneers, personal development gurus, and just about any person we discover that will inspire and compel you to go first in all areas of your life. Please welcome keynote speaker, philanthropist, and the official head dream chaser for Odyssey Teams, Inc., our host, Lane Hensley.
All right, ready? Hey, you go first.
No, you go first.
No, you go first, Nick.
Lane, you go first.
I'm going to go first this time, buddy, but I am so privileged you've made the trip down to see us here in Chico, and I get to share you with our listeners. So this is Lane Hensley again, host of You Go First. It's a podcast about people that inspire me, that have come across my life, who I just thought, man, in my quest to help people learn to go first in their lives when they're terrified, when they need change, when they got to shake it up, I find these people, and you're one of those people. So with that, I want to give a huge welcome to Mr. Nick Harris. Welcome to the podcast booth today. Yeah.
Thank you for having me, Lane. It's an honor to be here, man. Thank you so much.
I know you listened to the show and you contacted me and we started talking about like your brand, nickharris.com, right?
Yeah, that's nickharris.com is what we're going to go with. And I don't know, my social media is all Black Wild right now. So I think we're going to go with Nick W. Harris, AKA Black Wild. Because I don't want to like change that because I got the Black Wild nickname from a really good friend and like a musical mentor. He's in a band called Crowbar, Kirk Winstein. And I don't ever want to change that, you know?
All right, you got to slow down a sec because our listeners barely know who you are.
Fair.
Yeah, so Nick has helped out at leadership camps that I've been a part of before. He is a real live rock and roll star in, I think, a pretty heavy metal. What brand of metal are you guys playing? What do you call that?
I play in a metal band called Armed for Apocalypse. And I'd say it's sludgy, thrashy, pissed off metal, but we're all sweethearts.
Now, most people will not know what sludgy and pissed off, but that's okay. That's a different podcast.
Okay, fair enough.
But I know that it's loud, and if people find you on your Instagram, they'll see a lot of good pictures of you just going for it, because you're a drummer.
Yep.
You also promote music, so you promote some different artists out there.
Yeah, I'm a booking agent for Atomic Music Group, so in short, I book shows for other bands through Atomic Music Group, and I love that too. I love the behind the desk element of the music industry as well.
Well, the minute I met you, like you said, we're all cuddly or whatever word you use there. Like you're a mammoth of a guy. You're a tall guy. You're a big guy. You got a lot of tattoos. You got the dreads. And then when I met you, you're just like, hey, how are you? And I was like, who is this guy? Like, I want to know more. And it's been years now, and I know a lot more. So let's catch our audience up to like, okay, Nick, like, where did it start? Just a quick like flash on your life in like 1 minute. Okay. Born to here, who raised you, where'd you grow up, and then how'd you get into music? And then we'll talk about the message you're trying to deliver to the world through music. And obviously, there's a lot of young men out there that would look at you and go, whoa, what's up with this guy? And when they feel who you are, they're like, I want to be like this guy. I want to bring those qualities out of myself. So I flashed ahead a bit, but let's go to like, boom, life story. Nick, go.
I was born in San Francisco. I was raised in Redding, California. My mother and father were great parents. I mean, like every family, we had our challenges, you know. I was in Redding from 18 months to 18 years, and I went to St. Mary's College of California. I played 1 year of football there, and I played 5 years of St. Mary's rugby. And through rugby, I got some of the best friends in the world, ever, like still to this day. I started playing in a band when I was 15 with some of my best friends ever, and we started off playing like Weezer covers and stuff like that, you know, like the classic hits of the time, Nirvana and stuff like that.
So, you know, I know Weezer. Okay,
yeah,
you're in my genre. Okay.
Oh, yeah, Weezer, Nirvana, like Flaming Lips, Pixies, we played all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then I went to St. Mary's, and then after St. Mary's, I came to Chico, California, and I started a band called Red with Envy with some of my best friends, and then that band went for about 5 years, and then I started Armed for Apocalypse with Kale Hunter, and then we have been Armed for Apocalypse from 2007 until today. And I've lived I've been nomadic for the last like 5 years. I went from Chico to Santa Barbara to San Clemente to Palma de Mallorca, Spain, where my good friend Permanent Mark and I owned a bar and restaurant there called the California Burger Bar for 2 years. It went back and forth. Moved to Gridley, worked on a farm, moved to Chico, got really close with Scott. And then I ended up meeting Scott like in a friendship capacity, and then I met you, and then now my whole life's been totally changed. So.
Yeah, well, I'm a little piece to that puzzle, but you know, the big story is I know that, you know, you're in a metal band, you're in these environments, you're in bars late at night, you're traveling on the road, and yet you haven't had any alcohol, any drugs for how long?
It'll be well, it was 3 years, February 12th. So I've been sober for like 3.5 years. And yeah, I mean, every night there's definitely booze in my life, but it's not conducive for what I want to do with my life.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, no booze, no smoking, no anything. It's been the best gift to myself I could ever give.
Yeah, sure. Now that's part of the story of music and how you have influence through who you are just as a flat out person. And when you say that, people watching, of course, when people lack information, they make stuff up. They're like a metal band, blah, blah, blah. They start saying, oh, he must party, he must do this. And I know that you did party in college, and part of your learning how to be Nick Harris was through the failures, the trials and tribulations. So what would you say is like the low point in your life, and what did you learn from that low point?
Well, it's interesting because I was in Spain when I made this switch to sobriety. And what it was I realized that I was always 1 foot in, 1 foot out. I never put music first, but my whole persona was that I was this like rocker guy or whatever. Like, I did just enough to get by, and I did just enough to be good enough for our band to tour and stuff like that, but I was never pushing myself fully, And then when I realized, I was like, wait, I was sober for about maybe 6 weeks, and I realized, like, wait, I'm not even in it. I'm barely in it. I'm barely even chasing my dreams anymore. I'm partying. I have nothing really to show for it. And that's when I started like reevaluating what was happening. Like, I'm not putting music first. I've never put music first, but yet I claim musician as on my taxes, and like I'm kind of a fake. Like I felt like I don't know. I felt really emptiness in my body, and that's when I decided to leave Spain, and I came back and I told the guys, I said, I'm coming back on one condition, that we like go for it. Like we're going to go for it. If you guys are not down for it, that's okay. But they were like, yeah, let's do it. So we came back and we've been touring. Like, we played 117 shows in 2017, 88, and recorded in 2018. Last year we did 123 shows in 9 countries. And that's just, and we're like, DIY right now, doing it ourselves literally, but at least now, for sure, we're like both feet in, diving head first. Music's going to be what we do.
Wow. Well, of course, we're keeping a little bit far away because we're at the hopefully tail end of this whole COVID thing. I know you just had a test the other day, but it's weird not to just get closer to you, man. Your energy is infectious. But, when I think about, I think it's a really humbling moment. And there's a lot of people out there that this probably resonates with. Like, am I really all in for what I claim I'm all in for? Mm-hmm. And that's emotional. Like that's a kind of a terrifying thing. Am I really all in with every cell in my body, with every habit, with every pattern? I talk sometimes about Roger Bannister, breaking the 4-minute mile. It's like, well, what part of him broke it? And the answer is every cell in his body was prepared to break that, from his mind to every cell in his body. And is anybody really all in like that? And what does it take to get all in? And you have this way of like, just being humble and just observing and then really owning stuff. And I don't know like how you got so grounded. So were you always grounded like that? Or how did that come to you? Like,
I wasn't always grounded. I don't know a better word for it other than like I was a little bit of a fake kind of like I said, I was 1 foot in, 1 foot out. And I think what it was that when I actually realized that I wasn't doing what I said I was there to do, I was like, wait. Mm-hmm. Then I had to reevaluate my whole life, and I looked back at everything, and it took me a long time to really realize, like, oh man, I'm barely even trying. And then when I started trying, and like my band's had success, we've done great things, and we're extremely grateful. But when we had to basically start all over again, playing to 2 people in Idaho, someplace in Idaho, because we had to re-earn it, and we had to reprove ourselves again. Just go out there and basically play for no money and just dirt. But it's like, but we're doing it because we want to and because we love it, and we're not doing it for any other reason other than like, you know what? Let's do this. Whatever it takes. It doesn't matter what it takes. We can do this. We're born to rock. Do you believe it? You believe it? I believe it. Let's go for it. But let's go 100%. You can't go halfway. Like,
the why you do something, and in the spirit of you go first, like you went first in your band to go, look, we're going next level. Like, and maybe we're doing all the same things, but we're doing it with every cell in our body. And then discovering that? Like, I know you have a tattoo that's like 1 or 1,000.
1,000, yeah.
1 or 1,000. You explained this to me before. Explain it to our listeners, like, because I think about it all the time as a speaker. We're doing this podcast right now. If one person listens, should we bring any less of ourselves? That's basic.
Absolutely not. That's it. That's it. No matter if you're playing in front of 1 person or 1,000 people or however many people, you gotta play your best show. Like your last show you're ever gonna play. Like you're never gonna get to touch your instrument again. And if you don't do that, you're cheating not only yourself, your bandmates, but the one person that deserves to see you give it all you got. You know, it's like 1 in 1,000. This came from playing slow shows, straight up. You know, it's like we'd say it like 1 in 1,000. We'd do this, and we'd all do our little cheers, and we'd just mash as hard as we could.
Yeah, that's just a powerful concept. Like, you know, and I know we were hurrying to get here, and we got all set up. I just want you to take a deep breath and just settle in right now, because. Like, if people really let that land, like, I want to be my best for 1 person or 1,000, or you're going to have to add a few zeros to that, you know, because, you know, when people experience you and your music and your message, they get that you're there for them, that 1 person. Mm-hmm. And I think it takes a lot of ego to be set aside to go, I'm bringing all of me for 1 person. Because sometimes we think for all of me, it's going to take at least 725. And now I'm bringing all of me. And when ultimately you're kind of that one in the one, you know, you're bringing it for yourself. Like, that, man, you sleep good when you're living life like that.
Yeah. And literally the feeling it feels to like go for it, even if it's 1 person, you can like connect with that 1 person, even if it's the bartender, which has been just the bartender and the sound guy before. But when the sound guy's like, dude, you guys just killed it. It's like, dude, it's like, thank you so much. You know what? That show was for you. You know what I mean? Like, of course, I'd rather play bigger shows.
Of course.
You know, like we all love to play big shows, but you know, we're re-earning our stripes, and we're gonna get them. You know, it's just taking us a little longer than we had hoped. You know.
Well, oh man, there's so many directions to go. But when you talk to me about, hey, Lane, you know, what can I do about my brand and how I want to put myself out to the world? And it's like, there's a time when people go, I'm going to create a brand. Okay, I designed these sunglasses. What should our brand be? But when you're telling your own story and you're talking about impacting people's lives, your brand started when you were born. Mm-hmm. It started when you grew. On how tall are you?
6'4".
You grew 6'4". All of a sudden, my brand is I'm 6'4". Okay, my brand is I've got muscle. My brand is this. And my brand are all these life experiences, which we don't really architect in the idea like we write a brochure. Mm-hmm. So the brand is you. It's authentic. It's sincere. It's grounded. What do you want to like have people experience when they spend some time with Nick around music or your message? Like, tell me some of that story.
I think it starts with this. Like, I don't think. What I want is, I want to be a role model. I want to lead by example, you know, and I want to share myself through my experiences in the way I live my life, you know, and like the 1 or 1,000 thing. Like, I want people to know that every single person on this earth is allowed, or no one is off limits to success. No one is off limits to happiness. No one is off limits to the abundance that they seek. And I want to show people that we all have the potential. It's gonna take work. Like, my whole thing right now, like I was just telling Ross, like when we got home from tour, I was like, I'm gonna put in the work. I'm gonna play guitar every single day. I'm gonna play drums 4 days a week. And like, for me, my whole mantra, my whole paradigm right now is do the work. It's for myself. Like, it's just, no one's gonna make me a better drummer. There's only one way for it to happen. No one's gonna make me a better guitarist. There's only one way for that to happen. And that's for me to go do the work, you know? So what I want people to know is that, or what I wanna show people with my actions and the way I live my life, is that I'm doing the work the best that I can. And I wanna be a positive role model for anyone that sees me or witnesses me or interacts with me, knows that like they can do the same thing. And let me show you how I do it. Everyone's gonna find their own way, but this is how I'm doing it, and I'm living my best life the best that I can. I'm doing it soberly. Not everyone has to be sober, but for me, it's the most conducive lifestyle for me, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Well, part of that example, of course, I know I've seen you with young people, all the high school kids that leaders, they're just like, you're this hero to them, this rock star, but they never hear you play music and you get this rock star status. And part of that, that example you said is like, hey, you can make choices to not drugs, alcohol, peer pressure, you can express yourself and you don't have to fall into some stereotype just because you express yourself in the same way as somebody that takes a different path, like you said. And so with that, like, what is, when I say like, hey, what's next for you? Because we're always challenging each other, like, what's next? What's next? What would you say is next? Like, what's the next move for you to start seeing that kind of impact?
I'd say the next move probably is, well, growing my brand like we talked about, but also growing it through music. And I guess what it would be is like, what I realized is the bigger my career gets or my band gets or whatever it is, it's not even about me. Like, yes, music's my passion. I love it. Like, I need it. Like, I love it. But it's not about me. It's about the fact that I can serve more people with more access to people. So, like, my next move is to make it so I can access more people. And more people can access me. Like, if you look at my social media, like, I'm not really savvy on it. I'm not really good on it. Like, I post about band stuff or like my sister or something like that, But I want to start actually building the brand so people can come to me and be like, yo, man, like, I resonate with what you're saying. Like, can you help me with that? Yes, absolutely. Where can I start? How can we help each other? Like, what can I do to facilitate you trying to be the best brand of yourself, the best version of yourself, so.
Well, you said it when you said, nobody's going to make me a better drummer but me. Like, man, that just hits. Like having that kind of grounded awareness, like, this is up to me. Mm-hmm. And that I'm going to benefit from this, and finding, well, I need to find somebody to push me to be that, puts the power in somebody else's hands.
Yeah.
And now somehow, I mean, I'm guessing your genetics, didn't just make this happen. Like, who would you say big influences on your life? I know that your rugby family, like the guys that you're still in touch with, I hear you talk about them and you just light up when you do. I appreciate the way you see me and Scott and the Odyssey family, with Ross and everybody. But, who have been the mentors that really caught you at a moment where maybe you go left, maybe you go right?
Okay, well, I'll definitely say my parents. Both my parents are like the hardest working people. My dad passed away in 2015. But I mean, what he left with me, like here and here, is like a quick quote from my dad. Ready?
Yeah.
A quitter never wins and a winner never quits. Like, that has resonated with me my whole life. And like, my mom, she would always say stuff like this. Well, Nicholas, do you want to be ordinary or do you want to be extraordinary? And it used to drive me crazy, but now I'm looking back on it like, okay, I get what you're getting at. Do you want to be average, or do you want to do something that's like above the bar? And then both my brother and my sister are like the hardest working people ever. My brother is the craziest, hardest worker. But I think right when I had been sober for, say, 6-7 weeks or something like that, I had been listening. I found a gym because I was in Spain and I was dealing with these withdrawal hangover type symptoms, because that's when I realized I was like an alcoholic. I was like, whoa. I wake up in the morning, I was really hurting. So I found this gym about a mile away, and I'd walk to the gym, and then I would just row. It would open at 6, and I would just row. And I would just row it out. I would feel, like the hangover feeling, I would replace that feeling with the row. Like, I rowed for like 15 minutes, I get done, I was like, I just sweated. I felt so much better. But on one of those walks one day, I was listening to this song I have been listening to for 20 years, a band called Pennywise. The song's called It's Up to Me, and the lyrics were just like, it's up to me to be all I can be. And like, the day that it all really hit, it just like stopped me in my tracks, like, oh, wait, dude, it's what it is. It's up to me. If I want to make music work, I gotta just go do it. Like, no, I don't need to clock in. I don't need all this other stuff. Just go make it work. Do the work. And when it all came to me, like, that was it. That's all that was like the one that was like, turn the key, you got it, figure it out, go. You know what I mean? Like, that was it. Like, it's up to me to be all I can be. I put that on like so many different things. I quote it all the time. It's up to me to be all I can be.
Yeah.
That's it, you know?
Well, you dropped a bunch of quotes on us there.
My mom and dad,
and why is it these parent like nuggets, that teacher, that coach that says one thing, they say to 100 kids, 1,000 kids, some are like, whatever, that's crazy, uncle, whatever, grandpa, whatever. And for you, it's like, whoa, that's what I needed to hear.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's hard when you're the one delivering those messages sometimes to your kids, to yourself, and when it's delivered in a song, like that's the cool thing about music. It can communicate things to us, right? With rhythm and words, and just like when that hits us in the soul and says, this is going to be a moment where your life changes.
I heard this song for 20 years. I've been listening to that stuff for years and years and years. And then one day I'm walking and it's just like lyric after lyric after lyric. I was like, wait a minute, he's talking to me. This is me. He's telling me I need to go do this,
Yeah. So Dad said a winner never quits, a quitter never wins.
And a winner never quits. And he used to tell me that stuff all the time.
Okay, quitter never wins, a winner never quits.
Never quits, yeah.
And Mom said,
if you want to be, Nicholas, do you want to be ordinary or do you want to be extraordinary?
She always said, Nicholas, at the beginning.
Dude, my mom actually gave me the quote that like changed my life. My friend had a dream, essentially real quick, that my best friend and my dad, they both passed away. They came to her in a dream. In short, they told her in the dream that I wasn't living my best life. Okay, that I should be playing more music and I should be doing mentor type stuff. Blew my mind, right? So I tell my mom about this dream. I fly back to Spain. I said, hey, Mom, just tell me what you think about the message, because I don't really know how to interpret it. A couple of days go by. She writes me one sentence. And it says, well, Nicholas, this message means nothing unless you do something about it. That was it. I haven't drank since. That was it. Like, that was the last straw. That was like...
Wait, so your friend passes away.
Yeah, we were like 19 when he passed away. But like my dad had passed away in 2015, and like a year and a half, or like a year and a half later, he came to her in a dream and was like, yo, like in so many words, like Kyle, my best friend, and my dad were telling her in so many words, like, yo, Nick's not living his best life. Nick is, and he needs to be playing more music. He'll be surprised who he writes music for, and that I should be doing something like a mentor type. So she tells me all this in the message, and I'm like goosebumping out of my life, like reading this Facebook message, like what? And then I talk to her. She explains it all to me. We finished that tour. I go see her. We go hash it all out. She's like, well, you don't have to quit drinking. Maybe just focus more on music. Blah blah blah. I was like, okay. Tell my mom about it. She sits on it for a few days, and that's when she told me, well, Nicholas, this message means nothing unless you do something about it. I haven't drank since.
Yeah, whoa, I got to just process. I think everybody who's trying to go first in their life and soaking up tons of knowledge, you said it right there, this message means nothing if you don't do something about it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's everything.
Yeah.
There's a million books on leadership or sobriety or how to play music or whatever, but the message means nothing if you don't do something about it.
That's it.
And this kind of came as a message beyond the grave. I mean, I've had people on the show that have been dead for 38 minutes and 19 minutes, heart attacks, strokes, like complicated stuff. Like, do you think there's something going on past this life? Or how does that stuff happen?
I don't know how to say it for sure, but I know for sure that my dad is in my life. And he comes and goes. It's usually I'm showing him something like, dude, check this out, Dad. Like, take this new stuff out, like in my dreams, But like, there's definitely like I don't know how to explain it, but the synchronicity in my life once I started focusing on meditating and stuff, and things that would start happening. Like I had a dream once about a guy I tour managed. He's not even like my homie, but I tour managed this band. I had a dream that he was playing this paddleball game, right? The next day he texts me. I'm like, wait a minute. Like, how did you just text me? Like, I literally had a dream about you last night. I just wrote a song in my sleep. Like, I swear, it's called The Last Man Standing. I like wrote this song all in my sleep. And my friend Daniel was like, dude, you're the last single one. You're the last man standing. And I woke up in the morning, like making my bed, like, I'm the last man standing. And next thing you know, I'm like, put my guitar in my hand and like write this song. Like, so I don't know how it happened. It's like these dreams are real, but they're not. I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah.
But they're definitely having an influence on my life, clearly. My dad and my best friend come deliver a message.
Well, energy is a powerful thing, and I don't know how our energy starts and where it goes next, but it's here, it's there, it's somewhere. Energy can't be created or destroyed. If I understand my college science teacher, and I believe like he looked like he knew what he was talking about. And, you know, without energy putting in, entropy occurs. Like, you know, things will break down, but they still exist. Mm-hmm. And how this energy, and that's the energy I get from you. And I haven't seen you in, I don't know, 6 months.
It's been a while.
Our camp got canceled this year because I have COVID, and these poor kids had to graduate high school remotely. It actually wasn't that bad. My daughter's off at college now, as you know. And so here's this generation that's just been cast into a whole new, you know, environment. The depression rates are just skyrocketing. Drug and alcohol abuse, physical and mental abuse in the home.
Child abuse, I heard it's really bad too.
It's terrible. I mean, you know, we know young people are not that at risk for COVID, but the other day I heard in California more kids have committed suicide than died of COVID, which is, you know, because they're really that population, but they're being impacted so much. So any word of hope to kids coming out of this fog of isolation and just like, I don't know. It's a tall order, and we're all trying to do our best to make a difference. But, you know, what's something from Nick that you think could help people that are resonating with your message go, all right, things are going to be all right. I don't know.
Well, that's tough, but at the same time, I feel like I'm going to be repeating myself, but at the same time, I think it's like me drilling in the message, you know? And I'd say the message that I really want to drill in this kind of situation is that, you know, well, first off, you're not alone. Second off, we have people like you, myself, and Ross, and all the people around us, and our friends and mentors that are there for support, even though you may not realize it. But as I said before, you know, no one's off limits to anything. You know, no one's off limits to having the happiness or the success or the love that they seek, you know. Like you and I and Ross and everybody get included, you know. So I would just, like you say, you're number one dreamer or one dreamer?
One dream chaser.
One dream chaser. Yeah, I always say I'm a dream chaser, you know.
Yeah.
And in order to chase the dream, I had to like put one foot ahead of the other and like go for it, you know.
Yeah.
So I would encourage young people and all people right now to keep the faith and also to remember that we all have a chance. You know, it's not going to be easy. It's most certainly not going to be easy, especially with all this COVID stuff. But if we stay positive, and if we can, like, take a positive and then, or take something and find the positive in it. Like Ross and I were talking earlier, it's like our band, we've had to cancel 2 different recording sessions. It's the way we're going to look at it is, though, it's the gift of time. And when that gift of time, we have more time to get better at what we're doing, to get better at writing the songs that we're working on, getting tighter, maybe write a couple more songs. Next thing you know, it's like we have all this time, we've gotten better as a band. So then when we actually do get to record, we're going to have more success because we have this gift of time. So if we can flip it, if we can do what you can to flip it, like turn this negative into a positive, somehow, some way, like, dude, like I journal all the time, and I try to find the positive, and I try to write 3 positives or 3 gratitudes at night.
Yeah.
You know, just start with 3 gratitudes and try to flip it. You know, if there's a way, I don't know if I answered that question directly, but if there's a way to find the positive in this and grow, and then from there do the work, whatever that looks like for you.
Yeah.
And also, I mean, we have mentors like you and I that are here. I would love to help any way I can, you know?
Well, like you said, the message means nothing if you don't do something about it.
Yeah, exactly.
From journaling to these just pearls of wisdom that have been dropped on you. And like you said, like, you know, you're not alone, but consciously seeking that silver lining. Mm-hmm. Like, it is hard. And we know our mind, the physiology, the reflexive pattern, when in doubt, it says danger. When in doubt, it says look for that which can threaten us. Mm-hmm. It doesn't say when in doubt, look for a flower. It says when in doubt, look for something that might kill and eat you. Mm-hmm. And we carry that physiology into every environment. And that's where we look at somebody and we throw them into a stereotype. This person's dangerous to me. Oh, look at this sweet little person. Oh, wow, look at this person who just hurt me more than I've ever been hurt. And they look like they were so, like, we have to somehow put ourselves into a place where we accept reality and then go toward that which we choose. You know, like you said, that everything is available to us. I heard somebody the other day, man, the best way to get somebody so they cannot achieve they won't achieve a goal is to convince them it's not possible. And it was a coach, just talking about like how much messaging kids are getting that it's not possible. It's not possible to have fun with your family, to love your parents all the way through high school. You have to hate them at some point. There's so many messages of that. Or, everybody gives in to peer pressure. Everybody who's in a band and is in a bar, 118 nights a year is partying and drinking. You're like, you know what? Hey, you write the script.
Yeah.
You choose the path and you choose the destination, and regardless of, what happens around you. Man, somebody dropped something on me the other day. I want to remember it. It was basically like the difference between what if and even if. What if this happens? Oh my gosh. And even if this happens, we can do this. And it's such a simple little what if versus even if. And we get caught in the what if this happens. And man, when I see you, when I talk to you, I'm like, dude, even if Nick is crushing it out there. And I just am so excited to be able to honestly be a part of introducing you in this new chapter of really trying to put yourself out there and go, the brand has been created. It's not a fake, it's just you that needs to be told, hey, you guys have him come and talk to your kids. Have him come into your school. Have him bring his drum set or, listen to your music, and really connect with the person that's creating it. So I know I'm so thankful to be able to have you here for just
I'm so
a little.
grateful to be here. It's so good. It's so fun to be here, man. I just love. I can listen to you talk. I just saw when I was coming down. I got my other journal. I just went through the Camp Royal notes. Just Lane, there's so many gym. My favorite. I know you're gonna say it's someone else's, but it's still my favorite. I can leave, and I've been weird lately. I've been gifting books. I don't even know. I've become my mother. And I'm okay with that. My mom's rad. But straight up, I've been gifting books and I'll write a letter in the book. And I always say, my good friend Lane Hensley told me, okay, you can lead a horse to water but you can't make it drink, but you can make it thirsty. And I'm trying to make you thirsty. I know that's not the exact quote, but that's what I write.
That's it.
And I'm trying to make you thirsty by giving them the book. And it's that's my Lane Hensley right there. It's so good.
Yeah, well, you make me thirsty for more, man. I love following your Instagram. I can't wait to see your website come together.
Thank you.
So we'll put links to all of those things. Send us some photos and videos and whatever, because Ross is a master. This will be on YouTube as well as on a bunch of different podcast platforms, so people can see you and see pictures of you and the band and so forth.
Awesome.
And so whatever you send him, he's a genius at weaving all that stuff in there.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
So on behalf of me, the Odyssey family, the You Go First family, and all of our listeners, that I hope you're just soaking in this wisdom from Nick Harris, man. And what's the website going to be again?
It's going to be Nick W. Harris. So NickWharris.com.
And the W is?
William, Nicholas William Harris.
My business partner, William, will appreciate that.
Yeah, we try to do other ones like NicholasWilliamHarris.com, and they're all taken.
Not available.
So,
yep.
Yeah, it's okay.
That's all part of it.
It's all right. It's what it is.
You're the only URL, man. You are a unique human being,
Yeah.
and you bring a light truly into the darkness of the world, bud, and keep doing it.
Thank you very much, Lane. Thank you for having me, man. It means a lot.
Thanks for listening to another episode of You Go First. We hope you enjoyed the show. If you want to listen to another episode, you can find us at yougofirst.live, or you can see more about our host, Lane Hensley, on his Instagram at OneDreamChaser. To learn more about his company, Odyssey Teams Inc., go to odysseyteams.com or follow all their social media channels at Odyssey Teams. Thanks again, and we hope that you will go first to share our podcast with a friend or colleague. Now, you go first.